Right, so not done one of these vlogs for a while. Just thought I'd do one now. I'm gonna start doing some more this year. You know, it's I've been out a few times this year already. We're into towards the end of February 2020 now. I've just started on my new syndicate water, which is in Essex. A bit bigger than the last place I was fishing. Myths Pool. Love the place. You know, but I've had most of the targets out of there that I wanted this year or last year, so it's time to move on. Just done my first night on here last night. I'm getting quite a few bleeps. You can just see the receiver behind me here, but that's the wind. I've got sensitivity set too high. I'll turn it down in a minute when it stops raining, but it is chucking it down out there. Yeah, so I did my first night last night. I think we're sort of in the back end of this storm Dennis, as they've been calling it. Dennis the Menace. I got down here and there was quite a few people on, and I opted for a swim which can get to the sort of the main bowl, should we say, of the lake. I'm fishing 2 rods over bait. One, not a lot of bait. I've not put a huge amount, but probably only put about 10 Spombs out yesterday. I'm going to start topping it up again in a minute, and I'm going to regularly put a bit in, I think, over the next few hours. Maybe 10 Spombs every couple of hours. See if they're big fish in here, so let's see if we can get some of them moving on to the bait and mooching about. I saw one fish this morning crashed out in open water off to my right hand side, so I took one of the rods off the baited spot. New solid bag that I'd already got made up, straight on that, using the bag stems, the poltergeist bag stems. Yeah, dead simple, just loop to loop, straight on. Whack that out to the sort of vicinity roughly of where I saw that fish show. And a couple of hours later I had one. Whether it was the same fish or not, I don't know. You know, there's a fair few fish in here. I don't know the exact stock, but you see it in the photos. I'll when I edit the video, I'll put the photo on. 30 pound 8 ounces it went. Obviously I weighed it first in the sling, and then I had to take the sling off. But it's 30 pound 8 ounces, so well chuffed about that. First fish from the water, first night, and I had one, and it was a 30, so yeah, happy days. There's a few more in here. Well, there's quite a few 30s in here from what I gather. There's a decent amount of 40s, 15 plus 40s or something, so I'm led to believe, and 2 or 3 50s, possibly even more the right time of year, because looking at some of the A-team, as they call it, there's some of them that are pushing sort of 47, 48, maybe 49, so they could go 50 at the right time of year soon, maybe this year, hopefully. Could be more than 2 or 3 in here. It'd be lovely to get in amongst them. But to be fair, considering I only had my first UK 40 last year, I'd be well chuffed if I just managed to have a few fish out of here, and you know, a few of the 40s would be nice. Another new PB would be good. Set it last year, obviously, at 43.6 with flowers from Myths Pool. But yeah, there's some good ones to go out in here. I decided, I don't know if you saw, I decided to move away from fishing for a specific bait company, as I've done for a few years now. I did it just to, because I felt like I wasn't really getting a huge amount of time on the bank. You know, I wasn't able to commit to what I should commit, being part of a bait firm, so I decided to come off that and give somebody else the opportunity. I've still got some of their bait left. I've still got, well, I put an order in for some Malarkey active bait solutions. and I've been using that. That's actually what I caught on this morning. I'm not affiliated to Active Bait Solutions or anything like that. It was just because I've used it previously in the past. What we're talking 10 years or so ago now, probably more than that in fact, 12, 13 years ago, on the estate lake in Lincoln, where I had a really good good season on it. I thought, well, I'm fishing for myself, let's use a bait that I'd had confidence in previously, and yeah, let's give it another go. So I thought I'll give that a try. I say I'm not affiliated to them or anything like that. It's a bait I had confidence in. I've just used it and just had one on my first time out, so can't go wrong with that. I think the rain's just dropping off a bit now, so I think I'm going to use this opportunity in a minute to get out and get a bit of bait out. Not that I'm, you know, I'd shy away from the rain, but I know it was supposed to be dropping off. It's pretty windy out there. I'll turn around actually, I'll turn the camera around so you can see the lake. I'll see a bit of it anyway. Oh, there we go. Just turn that over. So yeah, there's the rods. It's quite shallow off this part of the island up into probably about there. It drops down. It's only about sort of 2-3 foot around the island for a good couple of rod lengths out, and then it drops down fairly deep. I've got let's see if you can see it, sort of like over here, about there ish, it looks like, that direction anyway, about 80 yards. I've got 2 rods on there. That's on my baited spot. I found a bit of gravel there, in and around some sort of smooth areas around it, so I've got on that. It's not a huge area, but from what I gather on here, they do come off the gravel. But where I had the fish was around that sort of direction. It's my weighing pole hanging up from there. It was showed probably in line with that marker pole that I've got there, out there somewhere. But probably where you can't really make it out. There's a swan just mooching along at the moment, just through the trees. He's hiding somewhere. Yeah, can't really, there he is. Yeah, probably had it around about there. That's where it showed. Banged the rod on it, and yeah, rattled off. So well happy with that. Always good to go to a new place and catch first time out. So yeah, well chuffed, and that's it. You know, hopefully I'll check back in later with news of another fish. But otherwise, I will probably check back in later to say hello anyway, or maybe wait till tomorrow morning. Update on the session, and catch you later. Okay, welcome back. We're literally, I don't know what, a couple of hours after I had that beautiful 30-pound mirror, and you'll be pleased to hear that I've just slipped another one back. It wasn't a 30-pound mirror, it was a 27-pound common, 27-pound 2. Absolutely pristine fish. Yeah, well, I mean, I'll add it to the video so you can see it. A stunning creature. Really nice. Had this one off the island, but several rod lengths off, just as it's getting into the deeper water. Just on just a pop-up again of the Malarkey, the Active Bait Solutions, Jeff Bowers baits, the Malarkey. Yeah, just on a little pop-up out there. What is it, 14mm or 15mm or something? Actually on a Ronnie rig. Shh, don't tell anyone, but it's my first fish ever on a Ronnie rig, believe that or not. But it's true. Yeah, I caught it on my 4th rod, because you'll have 4 rods here in the winter. One of the rods I got from my little lad, really. It's one of the Sonic extractor things. Beautiful little rod. Quite nice to play fish on as well, actually, because being a common, it wasn't really messing around too much. It was giving me me a bit of grief. So yeah, it was good fun. Say on that single pop-up, I did put a few baits out there. I mean, it's not that far out, but I put them out with the throwing stick earlier on. But I put a good sort of 4 or 5 baits in each thing out with the throwing stick. A couple of reasons really. One, to sort of scatter them about a bit, and 2, you know, because there's quite a few gulls on here, and as soon as they knew that I was getting the throwing stick out, they were straight on it, as you can imagine. So it was interesting to see whether I got many out. I do actually think I did get quite a few out, to be honest, because you could sort of watch them and you could see the odd one, and sort of follow the odd one as they're going out. Oh, excuse me. And yeah, they seem to be losing sight of them. I've only ever had that before. We were fishing a place, was it the Inter-Services we fished up at Barston near Birmingham, and I was fishing with good mate Mitch, James Mitchell, if you're listening or watching, hello. Very good angler. But yeah, I think we had, because back in those days we were Fox RAF mainline sort of thing, so I think mainline sponsored us for that, so we got a load of bait from them. And I think it was we had the New Grange and the Cell, and there wasn't a great deal of difference between the 2 baits colour wise, but bizarrely the New Grange, the gulls just couldn't seem to pick it up in flight, which was quite strange. The Cell, they were straight on it and they were almost catching it in mid-air, but the New Grange was, I don't know, they seemed to not be able to see it properly. And it seemed to be a similar sort of thing with this, but you know, yeah, they couldn't really see it properly and we had it. But anyway, that's enough of that. Yeah, I'm gonna fire out. Oh, in fact, hang on, my phone's just been going. I think my little lad's trying to video call me. So I'll sign off this video now, and hopefully I'll be back later on with another fish. Who knows, maybe later on or maybe tomorrow, because it's 20 to 4 now, so yeah, we're going to be losing the sun in probably an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. Yeah, probably about 2 hours actually. So we'll see. Anyway, wish me luck. Catch you later. Okay, good morning all. It's what is it? It's 10 to 9 on the 25th of February. It's probably going to be my last clip for this little video. Yeah, something I did forget to mention before is, you know, obviously if you like the videos or you want to see more, I'm going to be doing lots more. Hit the subscribe button wherever it is, it's somewhere. Bit of dancing for you there, and you know, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so not had any more big fish. However, I did have a little stocky common in the night last night. I'm trying to think when it was. It was before I went to bed anyway, so probably, I don't know, 8, 9 o'clock. It was dark. It was the right hand rod again, the one that I'd put out in the area where I caught the 30 on yesterday morning, on a solid bag. It was absolutely beautiful little stocky. I didn't take a picture holding it. I took one on the mat, just to sort of see it, and I didn't actually weigh it either. I'm a bit disappointed actually with myself that I didn't weigh it, because thinking about it, I should have done, just, you know, for the records for the lake really. So apologies for that to the lake. It's difficult to gauge it. I mean, it was just such a fat little stocky thing, but shoulders on it was incredible. The shoulders on it was ridiculous. You know, if that grows up to be same sort of proportions, that is going to be, you know, a big fish when it's older. You know, mark my words. The frame on it was incredible. I'd say it was probably around about the 8 to 10 pound mark, so it wasn't very big. Hence the reason why I didn't weigh it. Just laziness, I guess. It just thought it doesn't need to be out of the water for any longer than it needs to, and let's get it back to its home. What I thought I'd do this morning, just for 5 minutes, is have a little chat to you about these things. Right, and yes, that is a pink one. You can't see it, the light's shining on it. There you go, see that a lot better. And it is not what some people might think it might be. Okay. And then there's these two. Okay, so we've got this one. This one's a pink one. It's a pink Spomb, made by the company called Spomb. Says there on the front. I'll go through them in a minute. That's in pink because they've done a little sort of thing with it at the moment where I think £2 or something off to the purchase of each one goes towards cancer charity, like the Tickle Pink or whatever it is, cancer charity. I think it's a Tickle Pink one. So that's a nice gesture for them. Make it in pink, get a bit of money for the charity. Sadly, I've not seen many people using them on waters over the winter. There's a couple of people been giving it, oh, I'm not going to use a pink Spomb. Why? It's not going to scare the fish any. You know, it is what it is, and it's £2 extra to charity. Then we've got these. This is the Spider Spod. This is a new one. I forget who makes this. I think it's by Wolf Tackle or something, which have been fairly new on the market. I'll go through this one again in a minute. And then we've got this one here. Probably recognise it. It is the Dot Spod, which is now distributed by Nash Tackle, of course. Obviously available in most good tackle shops. See this one here, it's got a decent plastic clip on it. I've seen a lot of people talk about these and say how good they are. For some reason it's got little cutouts in the veins, but on two of them. I'm guessing that maybe somehow helps it fly straight. I don't know, I'm not into, I might be in the RAF, but I'm not an aircraft technician, so I don't know about aerodynamics. But as you can see, that one would be quite aerodynamic. Works on the principle that as it hits the water hits the front, which opens that, it drops the bait. Decent sized amount of bait you can get in there. I think reading up on it, I think you can get something like 4 or 5 ounces of bait in that. It's about the size of the medium Spomb, which is the one I'm going to show you here. Quite a good clip design. Bit fiddly to start off with because, you know, although people say yes you can do it one-handed, you can scoop it one-handed, but then trying to do that and close that one-handed, if you're like me and you don't have a lot of coordination with the left hand, it's pretty awkward. So it's still maybe scoop one-handed and then close it. Simply down and then forward, and that's it closed. Flies really well, I've got to say. Buoyant as well, so you don't need a float on the top. You know, if the unthinkable happens and you do crack off 13-15 pounds worth of bait rocket, then you're not going to lose it because it will float and you can get it back in. Which one should we talk about next? So let's talk about the Spomb next. Spomb, everyone's seen these, I'm sure, been on the market a long time. Some people have issues with the clips, but with them breaking at the top. I'll be honest, I've never had that. I was in Italy, October last year, and the amount of guys that were saying, oh, my Spomb's come off, I've gone through another Spomb, coming around saying, has anyone got any more Spombs or anything like that? And I was still on my first one for the week. I don't understand it, how people were cracking off so much, or you know, the clips were breaking, because I've never had that issue. I mean, it must have been happening to them, so I'm not saying they were lying, but you know, I've never had an issue. The thing with these is you do get the clip. You can just see in there, there's a little sort of bit that sticks up. That's what sort of holds inside that. What I have had though on these is in there where you've got the clip that flips up and holds onto. I have had that broke before. Not often, I will add that, not very often. I do find they are very well made. you know, they are what they are. The older ones that I've got, put it this way, I've still got a couple of newer ones that I've bought more recently have sort of maybe opened up quite a bit in the cast, because you do get that sometimes with these where you'll fire it out and then it'll suddenly open up 20 yards out and just sprays bait everywhere. And I was joking, so that's one for the liners. But yeah, I mean, that works same sort of principle as the dot spod. As it hits the water, presses the button on the end and it just pops it open. Very good device. It's a two-handed loaded operation, because you can't just scoop, because if you get stuff in this front mechanism there, that spring's not going to work. Yeah, the spring won't work, and then it's not going to be able to open it on impact, because I've seen that before. People have loaded it, got stuff stuck in the front, they've cast it out, it's not open, they're cursing, coming back, oh it's not open, so they'll empty the water out and they'll whack it out again. Guess what, it's not going to open again. They'll do it 3 or 4 times. Best thing to do then, is I've found, because I've done it myself, is just flick it out to the margin or something like that, just give the ducks a bit of a feed, let it open up, just give it a quick rinse, and then let that clear out of there, and then load it again. I tend to find out I prefer to use like a little scoop. There's lots of little scoops out there. Gardner do one, Fox do them. I'm not going to say all the other companies that do them, because I just can't think who does and doesn't. Excuse me, but I've got like the little Gardner one that I use. It's only a little, you know, like a pick and mix type scoop really. I'm not saying go to Wilco's and go and borrow their pick and mix scoops, because that would be wrong. But my little Gardner one, a couple of scoops in there, done, close, whack it out. Always seem to fly quite true. If you're using the bigger one, that's what I will say, the bigger one, because I do these in 3 sizes. This is the midi, or the medium. They do a mini, which is about that big, and they do the big one. The big one is good if you're wanting to fish long distances and you've got a really powerful spod rod, but you need to be, ideally you need to be loading it quite full, and to do that it's a lot of weight. So unless you're geared up properly with the correct rod and the correct shock leader, you may struggle. So I would probably always stick to the midi one unless you're geared up for it. Okay, little word of warning there, you don't want to be cracking off and blaming me and saying that big nose off the YouTube channel, he said it's alright to cast it. I have got a big nose, lot, people know that. Right, so on to the last one. See, this is a new one, right? I think it's only recently come out. It's called the Spider Spod. You can see it. Says it just there. And it's got a picture of Spider-Man on it. Well, it's got a picture of Spider on the web, which is quite a nice little detail. I've seen these in the magazines and on the internet and that, and they do look pretty good. People saying, oh yeah, this is the new one coming out, it's all this, that and the other. So far I think it's only available in black, might be available in white, I'm not sure. But the not that makes any odds, it's just what they make it in. Probably costs them twice as much to get set up for different coloured ones as well, so you know, fair play if they're just going to stick to the right colour. The only downside to the black, I think, is if you were to crack off, you might struggle to see it as it's drifting. White one will maybe see better, but then who knows, depends on the conditions. Yeah, so this one I picked up in the tackle shop when I was there only last week. Thought I'd give it a go. I think it was $14.99 or $15.99 or something, and just thought I'd see what it does. See, the little thing to connect it to is like that, so it's quite a decent amount of protection there, if you like, against the shock of the cast, because it's got quite a thick part between the hole and the top. This bit here, I'm not sure what's inside it, but I believe they've put something in there that is like a flotation device or something, I'm not sure, but it does. I've chucked it in and seen it when it's closed and open, and it does float pretty well like that. Bit awkward to open it if you've got it shut from there, because as you can see there, I'm pulling it apart. Reason for that, closing all on me, is, and it opens to that. But you think, well, that's rubbish because I'm not going to be able to get any bait in that, so it's quite easy, just close to it and you'll hear it snap shut. There you go. And that's because there is, I'm having a look to see where they are now. I think it's on these bits here, these two little round bits you can see, there and there, there and there. Right, they've got them on each of the veins, for want of a better term, and they are magnets, and they're pretty good magnets, so you can have it like that, and you can do it one-handed operation if you want to. You can scoop up and then just snap it closed with the other hand, or like me, still just use the scoop. I find it's just easy to use the scoop and I don't get messy hands, and you know, because I'm just a mucky bugger anyway, so I like to use the scoop. It's just a little bit easier. You say it's something else to take with me, but it's not, because it just goes in my bucket. Or it's got other magnets here as well, which helps to close it. Now it's got a spring in there. You can see that spring. What I have found is if you get anything above these magnets as it's trying to close, it's not going to, because that little bit there needs to sit in that sort of housing bit in there. Okay, so don't get anything in there, just use the main body. But I have to say, on using this yesterday for, I don't know, 20 casts or so, bloody good bit of kit. Right, I was fishing in a very strong crosswind. I mean, you can see it out there at the moment. It's a bit of a crosswind. Alright, it was definitely a lot more than that yesterday. Hell of a lot more than that yesterday. We're sort of on the back end of what they're calling that Storm Dennis. It's a Storm Cara or Kiara or something before that. I'm not sure what it said. The next one's going to be Ellen or something. It changes to male to female all the time. Yeah, we're on the back of that Storm Dennis anyway, and it's been pretty windy. Gusts of sort of up to about 45 to 50 mile an hour winds. And when I say gusts, it's just been that pretty much all the time, really, to be fair. So it's been pretty strong. So much so that on here, that the guy that owns the place, he usually goes out in a boat and baits up just to feed the fish, certainly through the winter anyway, just keep them going, where there might not be Angus bait going in. And he's decided it's probably not the best idea to do so, because the water's been so choppy, and it's, you know, just for safety reasons as much as anything else. Yeah, so fair enough. But I don't really want to rate these. I don't want to rate them. But if I was to be asked to rate them, and I'm going to, I would probably say at the moment that's my favourite. That new one, that Spider Spod, is my favourite. It flies very well. In all the casts that I had yesterday with it, it didn't fail to open once. You know, and that was hitting the clip and allowing it to land. There was also one which people that know me of old used to call me Badoshi from when I was spodding back in the day. It's the noise it used to make as it landed. Yeah, it opens. What I'm going to say about it, it's a very good bit of kit. I'm impressed. These two, I can't really separate them. The trusty Spomb I've liked since they brought it out. I always said when they brought these out and they used it, I said I'd probably never use another Spod again, meaning the old style Spods, because they're just brilliant. They don't go spraying any bait anywhere, you know, what have you. So they are very, very good. So it's always got a bit of a soft spot for me, or a soft spot in my heart for this. Great bit of kit. The Dot Spod, yeah, what can I say? Very good, very, very good. I'm just a little bit thing about this. To me, it seems a little flimsy. It's probably not. I mean, well, I can see through there. It's kind of a solid thing through there. So it probably is very strong, but I don't know. It just seems a bit flimsy, and the idea of it being a one-handed operation is great, but I find I've still got to use, although I did it there, it's fiddly. So I'd probably put these on a par with each other, to be honest. So yeah, the Spider Spod my favourite, the Dot Spod and the Spomb equally as good. They have their own sort of pros and cons, but I like them both. There is one other one on the market that I know of as well, which is the Fox Impact Spod, they call it, which is like a green and orangey looking thing. Goes with the Fox colours. Green one, and it's got like an orange sort of thing that pops up like that. Again, pretty good. I used it in Italy last year, but I actually had one that was given to me by somebody who works for Fox, who remain nameless. They drilled some holes in it, because one of the issues I've heard of people using the Impact Spod is that when they're winding it back in, it catches a lot of the water on the retrieve, so it's not as easy to wind it back in. It's like the old the old Spods, you know, they were like a parachute being dragged through the water, similar sort of effect. So what he'd done was he'd threw the orange part of it, yeah, the bigger main part, not the flap, he drilled some, I'd say probably 4mm holes, 4 or 5mm holes, all around it, and it seems to behave a lot better, hell of a lot better on the retrieve. So yeah, it's pretty good. But what I did find with that one, I'm going to be honest, what I did find was, if you didn't, and I'll use this as an example, if you didn't fill it perfectly full, or not perfectly, but really full, and then close it and whack it out, you'd get a bit of wobble, quite a bit of wobble in the air, and that would put the cast off sometimes. Also, if you only sort of half filled it, what you needed to do, or what I found you needed to do, is when you closed it, just give it a bit of a shake, just to sort of force everything down to the bottom, you know, down to sort of halfway, yeah, down to the bottom, so all your weight's in the end. Because if you put it there like that, all your weight's not quite in the end. Just force it down so that when you do cast it out, the weight is going forward. That's what they do, they go even make that noise. So yeah, just give it a shake. I mean, I tend to do it with them all anyway, but if you forget, certainly with the Fox one, it does give you a lot of in-air wobble. Can't remember what I was calling it. I was calling it something, I'm not saying I was calling it something as in a rude word, but I was saying something about it, called it something, I can't remember. But it was flapping around and it was a bit of a pain. It wasn't very accurate when doing it like that. Well, one thing I want to say about the Spider, I found yesterday when I was fishing it in a big crosswind, it was pretty accurate, but it was weird, it didn't get blown off course like that. It didn't really get blown off course particularly. It still managed to fire through the wind, but it would fly out like that. You'd see it had turned. The wind would catch the vanes a bit, but there was still a lot to be able to push it forward. So it wasn't like you were casting it out and it suddenly went from the wind's coming this side, where it go and land over there somewhere. It literally just went pretty straight. It'd blow a little bit, but it would just sort of change the angle that this was at. If you can see that properly, it'd change it, and then it would still go relatively straight. Which, thumbs up to that. It's yeah, very, very good bit of kit. Anyway, I've been rattling on for long enough on that. Not had any more fish. It is now 9:10. I've had my breakfast. I am going to have a slow pack down, I think, because I think there's a bit more rain coming in this afternoon, and even a bit of snow from what I've seen on the weather forecast. Shame we can't stop another night, because it would be nice to try and get a snow carp. But do you know what? For a first session down here, it's been absolutely brilliant. I couldn't have dreamed of coming down here and caught 3 fish, and you know, one upper 20 and a 30 on my first trip in February. I know the weather's been mild this winter, but it's still February, it's still cold. Put the deeper out yesterday, it's still only sort of 9 degrees or so. Been a great session, been really good. Unfortunately it rained a lot, so the pegs turned into a bit of a quagmire, and I'm not really looking forward to the trek back round, because there are a few soggy bits, should we say, which are a bit slippery, but I'm sure we'll cope. I might have to do it in a couple of runs and take some stuff off the bar or something to get through those bits, and just so I don't fall over, because I'll only get annoyed and don't want to be doing that, do I? Come fishing to chill out. Okay, so I suppose there's nothing more else to say, but I'll catch you later, and good luck when you get out fishing yourselves. Cheers.